Alright, hello YouTubers, and today I am finally reviewing this, which is the newly released History of the Daleks set 13. Although what most people are calling it, which is the 5 Doctors set, or 5 Doctors Dalek set, regardless. Let's jump into this, shall we? So, we'll take a look first at the new, the more new figure, I should say, in this, which is the Richard Herndl figure. So, yeah.
I don't know that.
That's because I didn't ask you. So yeah, this is a brand new head sculpt because apparently the original one was either destroyed or went missing. I can't remember which. It is a pretty good head sculpt, to be fair to it, and yeah, the detailings on it are pretty sharp as well. If it ever wants to focus, there we go. You can see all the lines and the brow sort of detail. The hair is, or should I say the wig is, more of a very light grey with a darker wash going down it. Interestingly, the head on this one is removable. So yeah, if you're wondering why, because a lot of them, the head I've noticed is slanted to the sides, but you can actually fix that because that is actually it being pushed off of its peg joint there. So yeah, that's why it is doing that. If let's get something to block the background in. There we go. So hopefully we can see it a bit better. There we go. So yeah, just looking at this head, it does look really nice, and it is nice to finally have it. Alvarez kind of done the best he can with the original, First Doctor, because it is just a First Doctor body. We have the hands painted to look like the gloved hands with the fingers sticking through, which does work fairly well actually, especially from a distance and that as well. So only when you look at it and you see it from angles like this. I think if the paint had reached this seam here, which this one has, this hand doesn't have it actually, which it looks better for it. I think if the paint on this one, again it may vary, it just reached like the finger joints, I think it would look slightly better. But overall, yeah, he looks really good, particularly the waistcoat and that as well, which isn't exact again to what it is, but again, it's kind of working with what you've got with these because it's very limited resources, I guess, with these. But the thing that annoys me about this, though, he doesn't come with his walking stick, which, again, would be the wrong sculpt in that for it, but still, if we're only getting one 3-pack this year, then, put that money to something else, either make a new walking stick, or even if it just came with the old walking stick in brown plastic, like the original First Doctor release, that would have been better than nothing. I don't know what it is about not giving Doctors any accessories at all, or anything accessories. The only things that ever seem to get an accessory are the monsters, but we don't get them very often, so yeah, it is a shame when that, unfortunately, but still though, I do like this figure, and it is nice to finally get a Hurdle in the range. Now going on to the other figure, which is the interesting one. So this is the Death Zone Dalek, as I think it's been nicknamed, or if you like, Dalek 17, one of the most famous Dalek props there is, or has ever been. So yeah, now the colour of this is not exact, but it's not a bad representation in terms of the colour of it, to be honest. And I do like the fact that on this one, the tip of the actual gun has been painted a sort of orangey red to represent the sort of, I don't know, strips, I guess is the best term I think for it, that come out. They've also given it the new red dome lights, which were a one-off for this Dalek, which, again, new sculpt and that, and they do look pretty damn good. But do see, so yeah, nice to actually have them. Let's put the white in the background. It seems to work better against the white. But yeah, something that is annoying though, this eye is incorrect completely. So what baffles me about it is this is reusing the standard, 70s eye stalk. The thing is though, this Dalek, one shouldn't have 5 rings, it should only have 4, but also the eye stalk, Aldebar made a new eye stalk for the Destiny Daleks, and if he had reused that eye stalk with this Dalek, that would have been, not 100%, but basically would have been basically close enough or near enough perfect to basically no complaints and that here. But why are we using this eye, especially a 4-ring die, a 5-ring die, when it should be a 4-ring die? So I really don't know why they're using this eye. Also, to a point, there's no circle in the middle. And some people were saying, oh, well, you can't really see the circle and that anyway. Well, I could see it. It was there, it exists, you can quite clearly see it in the picture, and also the bloody sculpt for it exists, so why don't you use it? I don't know why. Why is that not used with this? Because, seriously, it's just a simple thing. Like, 2 simple things that exist, so I really don't know why. Oh, wait, no, wait, I've got it. It's the factory's fault, isn't it? It's the factory's fault. Okay, that makes sense. It's obviously the factory's fault. Now, the new section as well added to these Daleks is this extra section here, which on this one is just completely black. Now, the thing is, the problem is, this has not been given the mesh effect that these sections have here, which is annoying because what this actually is just the mesh continued down where the gap is there. That should all have the mesh textured effect on there, but it doesn't. It's being left completely smooth. So, unfortunately, it doesn't work. So, that's why it looks more odd than it usually should. So, yeah, again, I don't know why. Wait, hang on, I know why. It's the factory, isn't it? Yeah. Now, turning to the slacks, these are interesting. Now, it is the new sculpt of slacks that I think were introduced last year, if I remember rightly, which isn't a problem here, but they're less noticeable on here, but more noticeable on the Necros ones. This time around, they've been moulded in the colour that the mesh is in, rather than the colour of the slats. If you don't know, in previous years, basically, it was usually moulded whatever colour the slacks were in, and then if the mesh needed to be painted, then the mesh was painted separately, but this is not the case with this one. And the slacks on this one aren't too bad, but a lot of them, the slacks are really poor. For example, one of the ways they're cutting corners is not actually painting the tops of the slats or the bottom of the slacks, and that there where you can see the grey poking through. Also around the bands and that, going round the Dalek. This was something they started doing last year, where, if I just look at it there, this section here, this rim bit here, is just left grey rather than painting it black, which isn't too noticeable there, but it does get noticeable on some of the slacks, again, particularly on the Necros Daleks. So, yeah, it does seem like costs are being, cut quite a bit with this set, unfortunately, especially, compared to last year's sets. And, yeah, I don't know, because obviously B&M, they've got a very limited budget, but, if you're releasing less sets, then, I'll be fine if the quality was there, and it just kind of feels like it's a bit of a hodgepodge. Like, be honest, like, stuff like that I could almost forgive if it wasn't for this being wrong, that being wrong, which is a shame. I also should mention, this time correctly, the end of the plunger has got the little bit of silver and that at the end, which is something the Destiny Dalek should have had as well, although Alduar seems to think in his head that the entire plunger is just black. It's not. But yeah, taking a look at the packaging, so you can see here what I've done with this to get them out and to be also to repackage them as if, it looks like they've never been opened. Basically, I've cut along the bottom here, cut along the side for the Dalek to pull it out, and then the hurdle, you can just about see here, I've cut along the side bit up to his hands on both sides, and then he's able to basically pull out and slide out, and that is how you're able to then put them back in for display. But I do quite like the sort of backdrop. I do prefer it to it just being plain white, and this is, I think, meant to represent the first Doctor with the blue, and other sets are colour coded for each Doctor. Taking a look at the packaging itself, now there are some improvements and there are some well, not improvements, shall we say. This is the one I'm keeping sealed. Now, unfortunately, as I said, it is the blister card design. However, thankfully, we do have 4 corners of corner posts, and this bit going over here does help make the packaging a bit more sturdier, because last year's ones were incredibly flimsy because they just took away the window and the box didn't have its full stability because of that. But thanks to this corner and that being added there, it does help make it a bit more secure on that as well, and it means less things are going to actually hit or knock against the figures and that inside. It does say featuring the first Doctor and Galthway Guest Zone Dalek. Still got that limited edition sticker and that in there as well. The packaging is interesting because for some reason it's got the white motif, which is what the exclusive sonic screwdriver had. Whereas I thought it would have gone for the black sort of starfield and blue design that this one, the standard release, went for. So yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of a mishmash of both, to be honest. And I'm going to say I would have preferred this to have the sort of black sort of starfield design, just because I'm not a big fan of white, especially on boxes, because they can easily mark and that, or any blemishes and that will show up. So yeah, and they can discolour on that over time, so that's why I'm not a big fan of white boxes. But it does make them very easy to spot on the shelves. There's a load of biography and that, information and that on there, and information and that on the bottom, and the Doctor Who logo and that on the top. So those are the new packaging design boxes. So yeah, and they're still $21.99, so that's a plus. So overall, would I recommend getting the set? Well, yes. The hurdle figure, or hurdle, whatever, figure is definitely worth it in that for me. And despite its problems, I still do really like the Guest Zone Dalek. And yeah, one day I might, I don't know, do a hybrid where I take bits of a previous one and make it together. I probably won't, to be honest, I can't be asked. It is nice that the fact that it does have the new dome lights and the orange tip and that on the end there. But it does have its problems, which it really shouldn't have, because the sculpts exist. The oval and the eye stalk. So yeah, but it's a mixed bag as ever. But there we go, people, there we go. Also, as ever, I remember something after filming the review that I forgot to mention. The gun should also be the pinch gun. It's the straight gun for some reason. It should not be. It should be the pinch gun. So yeah, why that is the case with this Dalek, I don't know. It's another thing that is wrong with it. So just so many bloody things that are wrong where the sculpts exist. It's just like, why do he do this? Oh yeah, of course it's the factory.